Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm back after a long time, but here we go. So, my issues with the Carmelo Anthony case and my thoughts on it is a lot of bullshit involved with it. We know that. We always knew that. We knew this was the case when everything first went down. All right, let's just be real. Let's keep it a buck. Let's be honest. Now, if I'm going to be honest with y'all, it does seem like he's going to have to do time. I know they announced 35 years very fast within a 3 hour trial, and then he was sentenced pretty much the same day. They tried him guilty in 3 hours, they sentenced him the same day. That ain't never happened like that. Usually the sentencing is weeks, sometimes months later. So they tried to make an example out of this little man real quick. Now, something that I want to address is, and black men, we really got to learn how to read the room. Black people in general need to learn how to read the room. If you get that sense that you are not wanted there, just leave. I'm sorry. The entitlement of I can go where I want to go. It is beautiful, but at the same time, it is detrimental to us as a whole. I'm gonna tell you just like this: if I'm going to a restaurant and they say, "Nikki, do you belong here?" You are 100% correct. I don't belong here. I'll be out. See you. I ain't spending my money here, and that's just the last you're gonna see of me up in that joint. I ain't got no time to be worried about whether this person behind that door is going to not do something to my food and I end up sick or dead later on because they want to take me out on purpose. And it's time for black people to really start doing that. Why are y'all begging people to take your money? You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with this situation. I get it. It sucks when you got to deal with this racism, when you got to deal with the white supremacy and the structures of all of that. I get it. I hate it just as much as the rest of you do. But it's about damn time we started to separate ourselves until whatever time comes and people realize, damn, black people really ain't playing with us. We need to stand on something or fall for anything. And that's just what it is, where we need to go with it. Now, as far as the Carmelo Anthony case is concerned, sadly, he's going to have to do time. I don't think he's going to do 35, but he's going to do like 5 to 10. Unfortunately, it is so unfortunate. But it just is what it is because based off of stuff that I found out, apparently he had the knife at school. He was told not to have the knife again. So this was the second time he had the blade on campus. But that doesn't justify the fact that he did do self defense. It was self defense at the end of the day. You do not walk up to somebody, you put your hands on them, and then proceed to potentially jump them. Now, based off what I'm hearing, it does sound like he still got approached by more than one person. And if it's you and your twin brother, which we know the twin brother is responsible for why the one is dead in the first place, there's two brothers at 6'1", 200 something pounds on a 5'8", 140, which I think is way too light for a 5'8", but whatever. The force was not equally permissible to what was given to him, which is some bullshit because Kyle Rittenhouse got pushed. He shot 3 people. They called it self defense. So if Carmelo Anthony was pushed and moved on by people bigger than him, it should be self defense too. This court is dirty. The system is dirty. We know it's really only is designed to protect them no matter what, and we gotta fight to the teeth and nail to win, if we even do. Now, the odds of a complete reversal are relatively low. Now, though it's too early to rule out anything because appeals depend on the trial record, not news reports. So the trial record is what the appellate court analyzes, and that will tell you he might have to go into another trial because the jury rejected self defense. And unfortunately for him, which was the stupidest thing he could have done, was not take the stand. He should have taken the stand and he should have spoken. In a self defense clause or case, you really need to represent yourself. It sounds crazy, but you do. The jury also rejected lesser alternatives, which means they did not give a damn about manslaughter or anything like that, which it really was manslaughter. It was manslaughter. But no, they tried to get him on, I believe in Texas, capital murder is like first degree murder. So there are things a little different. So I think they're trying to get him on capital murder, which is first degree. They're trying to say he wanted to kill him. He thought about it. He walked over there and just did it. That is not true. That is 100% not true. And somehow Texas was able to get away with that because Texas is its own country at this point, and that needs to be just dealt with. The strongest publicly discussed appellate issue appears to be the jury selection, purposely indicating that no black jurors were on the stand. And the problem with that was he wasn't judged by his peers, which is clearly stated in the Constitution to be judged by your peers, and y'all purposely made sure there were none of his peers on the fucking stand. So that could automatically be ruled as an issue, and the defense objected at trial. If the appellate lawyers can show improper race-based strikes, that could become a significant issue. Basically, meaning there was some racist shit involved, and that could automatically get dealt with. A sentence reduction is often more plausible than a full acquittal, and that's what I'm saying. It's a very good chance he's just going to get a sentence reduction. 35 years is crazy on a first offense for a minor. This is what we've been saying when we say black kids and black teens are not seen as human. If this was a white kid doing this to a big old black kid, he would have either gotten off completely or they would have gave him a little bit of time. Derek Chauvin got 22 years for a blatant public lynching. Karmelo Anthony got 35 for self-defense. Make that make sense? You can't. It's a rare outcome when the dismissal of a conviction is usually it just doesn't happen. It just really doesn't happen, and most likely the conviction affirmed, less likely a new trial because of a legal error, and least likely conviction completely vacated with no retrial. I just don't think that's gonna happen. Now, it is very strong that the appeal can focus more on the jury selection, what seems to be the case. It could easily be the case. The trial testimony reportedly undercut part of the self defense narrative. So it's basically, the reneging of the whole thing, where one witness testified that Austin Metcalf pushed Anthony before the stabbing, which supported part of the defense's account. However, the other testimony reportedly suggests the confrontation was brief and that Metcalf's brother was not involved in physically confronting Anthony. Contrary to aspects of the defense theory, the jury ultimately rejected it because somebody said that's not what happened. And that's where my problem is. That's where my problem lies. That's where my problem stays. If they just went with the one that made the white boy look innocent because there was a bunch of white people on that jury, which is why there needs to be some kind of law in place that there cannot be all white juries or just all same race juries anymore. It just can't be, because this is the shit that we say on a regular basis. A defense witness was challenged over inconsistent statements. A student witness acknowledged during cross examination that he had previously described Anthony as being surrounded before the stabbing, then admitted that description was inaccurate. Prosecutors used that inconsistency to attack the defense. So they said he was surrounded, then they said, nah, bro, nah, I'm sorry. And I think that was Eddie's bitch ass. Basically, you do not want a friend like Eddie. If you have a friend that moves anything remotely like Eddie, you need to cut him off. You need to cut her off, because they will literally watch you get swung from a tree and they know damn well you are innocent. I'm pretty sure his friend Eddie was like Hispanic, like Mexican or something like that. So, they look at white people like, oh yeah, the white people, man, black people are lazy. You know what I'm saying? Like that bullshit with them. And I'm glad Anthony requested an appointed lawyer for the appeal. He got a whole new legal team, and I'm hoping they can bring some clarity to the situation, because this whole thing was utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And I'm not saying he's right for stabbing him, but I am saying he's right for defending himself against a much bigger person who was trying to flex some weight that they knew they had, and it backfired. That's why I'm like, this is ridiculous. Prosecutors are publicly defending the jury selection process. Of course they are. Of course they are. Now, the thing is, things that could have fucked Carmelo Anthony over in the first place was the response. It was disproportionate. Being pushed does not equal getting stabbed. So getting stabbed would equal getting stabbed, but it is what it is. He still put his hands on him with no real reason to do that. You could ask him to leave the tent, but he really didn't have to, because he was invited by a friend who reneged on him. It's only self-defense when it's a white person to a black person. White people want the monopoly on violence, and their laws only really benefit them in this type of system. As we can see with this case as a whole, there's no reason that Karmelo Anthony should be doing 35 years for a first time offense on self defense, even if the jury rejected it. They know what it was. They know what it was. Now, what might have really effed him over was that touch me and find out situation. Yes, it is inherently a warning of if you touch me, something will happen to you, but they can also use that as a see he wanted to do it. Even though the Metcalf twin pretty much got caught saying, if you don't move, we're going to beat your ass, but whatever. Yeah, it is. It is one of those unfortunate situations, and I personally think that it could be appealed, but I don't think it's going to be overturned. If it does end up getting overturned, that would be a miracle and a half. Obviously, how I feel about certain people, the Cartier families, Officer Tatum, Candace Owens, them dudes, they can all eat a dick. If you ask me, y'all see how grimy the system is to your own, and y'all still choose to not believe it. Now, my thing is, I don't have a problem with y'all being conservatives. Actually, I think we should have more black conservatives. But if you're going to be conservatives to the extent of my people are beneath me, or you think that nothing is deliberately targeting at your people, I got a problem with that. You really are the word coon that I don't really like to use that often. You are a coon. You are a coon. The Cartier family, especially, y'all really hurt me, bro. I ain't gonna lie, because y'all just really on the side of the Metcalf brothers. Y'all are really on the side. Now, the day you are, I'm gonna say it like this: the day they're done with you, they gonna cast y'all out. Candace Owens already kind of getting it. They will cast you out, but they ain't even trying to hear all that. I ain't even, what I mean? The case, we know if the white boy would have just minded his fucking business, none of this would have been going on right now. But of course, he had to go over there and flex that white privilege as much as he possibly could just to end up 6 feet under. So sadly, it should have been beautiful for the defense. It really should have been. I mean, he was sitting up 5 flights up. They had to walk up to him to get him, and that's exactly what they did. It was beautiful for the defense, but of course, that is only the offense when it is a black person attacking a white person. But when white people attack black people, it's just roll over and take it. Black Americans are not them niggas of yesteryear. I say this all the time because it is true. We are not them niggas of yesteryear. If you're gonna walk up heavy, prepare to get some heavy back done to you. It is what it is. It's frustrating, man. It really is. But that's really all on the topic for right now. I will be keeping a close eye on this situation because Lady Boulay, Sarge Willa Pete, and Tariq Nasheed and a bunch of other people are watching the case as they should be. I'm also watching the case. So I'm gonna be giving y'all updates as much as I can. I am back. I will be doing a video pretty much explaining where I've been for the last month for some change. And it's not like terrible, nothing terrible, just like a basic life update. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all on the next one.